Welcome to HP Connect. As you all know, HPP is transitioning to a new HP Connect portal platform. HP Connect is powered by HealthTrio. It is an enhanced one-stop shopping concept to access the provider directory, patient information, check-in eligibility that was formerly conducted by Navinet, benefits, claims, authorization, document management, and reporting. Next, I would like to move on is to show you the registration process. So on your HP Connect portal homepage, you will come down here to register. Click on this button. We want to keep in mind that this is an all-new portal, so you will need to create a new login to obtain access. Also want to keep in mind the first person who creates an account for your organization's TIN is considered the local administrator and will be responsible for creating additional user accounts. After your primary local administrator is registered, HPP encourages you to add at least another additional local administrator. This will serve as your backup. And also keep in mind there are no limits to the number of local administrators you may create. So let's moving on, creating the registration. So we're going to plug in the demographics of the individual you're registering for. We want to keep in mind that since I have completed this demonstration in the past, it is easy for me to insert my information due to it already being ready to be populated in the fields. So you will select your information per your individualization. Okay. And then you're going to insert your password. And then it's going to ask you to confirm your password. And then we're moving on to the 3 security questions. For my demonstration, I'm just going to have the same response for all 3 of my test questions, but I highly recommend you personalize yours. Do not follow my lead. Everybody will know your answers to your security questions. We don't want that. Okay, so moving on, then here below it says as the primary registrant, you are automatically the local admin, and we're going to select Next. Upon completion of the user information, you will then arrive to the search for your provider office. The first search for field is going to have practice and hospital. So you're going to make that selection no matter if you are, like I said, a practice or hospital. There's only one option. And then your next box is search by. So you're either going to be looking for the NPI, the National Provider Identifier, or the tax ID. For this example, we're going to select the NPI, and then in the search text box, we're going to add those digits. Once you've added the digits, you're going to select the search button. Then it brings you up to the search results. Make sure you make the appropriate selection for the appropriate office. Once you've identified that, you will select the radio button, and then you will select the next button. Then moving on to the next screen, you will see for this scenario that it's already identifying that there's an existing registration detected. So I'm going to move down here to this section. It says you have the following choices to continue. Number 1, if you are one of the above users of the Connect system, please click here to log in. Second option, otherwise, if you would like to continue creating a new registration, please click here. We are going to click Next because we want to create a new registration. Now we arrive to the office information. The organizational name and the tax ID is pulled in. And then we have the claim number and the claim amount. This is very important to reach out to your practice manager to get some direction on how you're going to obtain the claim number. The claim number and amount must be from a claim that has been previously submitted to HPP. That claim number and amount is how we validate your registration behind the scenes. So it's very important to get that information per your office so that it can be validated. And then if we have any, if we're unable to validate, you may get an email for a denial. So you want to make sure that you get the information accurate. So I'm going to plug in the claim number that has been provided to me by my practice manager. And then here, multiple TINs. List all additional TINs. If the space does not accommodate your TIN list, please email all TINs to hppconnectgolive@hppplans.com. So I'm going to plug in my tax ID number, and then the information below has been auto-filled, but I want to pay close attention to the zip code. It does add the additional 4 digits to the zip code. We need to delete those because it only allows for 5 digits. Then we will select Next. And then it brings you to the registration summary. Please review that information for accuracy. Once you confirm accuracy, you will then select Finish. And then that will bring you to the page stating that your registration has been created. It is very important for you to jot down your user ID because you will need that to access the application in the future. Once you've wrote that down or saved it, you'll then select Next. Your registration has been completed, so we're going to select Next, and then it's just going to take us back to the home page of the portal. Moving on, I'm going to show you the provider directory. Provider directory is going to be the first option here on the HP Connect homepage. Select the member provider directories. And since all of us are very familiar with this at this point and use it on a regular basis, I'm just going to show you this at a high view. So you have the appropriate directories here, Medicaid, Medicare, and CHIP. I'm selecting Medicaid. And then it's going to populate the provider directory, and then you can plug in the search criteria, the zip code, the name, faculty, specialty, or condition, or make a selection from the option below, and it's going to populate the search results. Yeah, just very quick insight to that due to most of us using it pretty frequently. Okay, next I'm going to focus on patient management, and I'm going to do a eligibility search, and there's 2 different ways that you could do it. It's through the initial patient search or the current patient search. For my first demonstration, I'm going to focus on the initial patient search. So I'm going to come down from patient management down to search patient, and then click on that. And then it's going to give me the criteria that I must provide for the patient search. So you can conduct the search by last name, member ID, or Medicare ID. For our demonstration, we're going to insert the patient's last name. At a minimum, you must plug in the patient's first 2 characters of their last name, but from our demonstration and for best practices, it's best to plug in the patient's full name, comma, first name. Then here below, this is when you're going to start your eligibility search. From this date, you can make changes by selecting the calendar. And then to narrow down your search, you can also plug in the patient's date of birth. For our scenario, we're just going to leave that blank and then select the search button. On the next page, it's going to give you all of the search results. For this demonstration, we only have the 1 result. If you were to select this purple select button, it's just going to take you to the patient information screen. But we're doing an eligibility check, so we're going to select on the patient's hyperlinked name. And then on the next screen, it's going to give us the screen for the requesting provider to input their information. If your facility has less than 50 affiliated providers, you may see a drop-down menu to make that selection. It may have the MPI information in there and the provider information already on the drop-down option, so you make your selection. If your facility has greater than 50 affiliated providers, you will then select the search provider link here, and then you're going to be typing in the provider's information. So here we're going to insert the provider's name And we're also going to be selecting the NPI, inputting the NPI information, but you could also look for the provider information ID and input that information here. But for our example, we're going to select NPI and then click on the search button. Then as you see below, there are a list of results. You want to make sure you're selecting the provider. So you will select on More Info, and as you see it expands, and then you'll make the selection for the appropriate provider. Once you've identified the appropriate provider, you're going to select the Add option right here, and then it's going to insert that information in the provider. Then you select Submit Eligibility Request. Once we give it a moment to go into the database to do its search, it will then generate the results. You just need to bear with it until it populates. And as you see here, it gives us the benefits and eligibility as the date that we submitted in the very beginning. That would be for August 8th. And then this screen here is what they call the patient info screen. When we were first looking for the patient information, I said select on the patient's linked name for the eligibility, but if you did select on that purple select button, it would have taken you to this screen here with just the patient information. So since we selected the name, the linked name, it took us to the eligibility screen where it has the benefit plan information. Then it has the status, other coverage, active status, and then it has the start and the end date. If there's ever a time you have to do a deeper dive, you would then select the View Eligibility History. Well, it will produce additional information, and you select on those hyperlinks within, and it's going to provide you with that additional information. For this scenario, we're going to just hit the back button in the upper top because we do not need to dig additional. And we're going to go back to the eligibility screen, and we're going to be looking at the benefit plans. So if you scroll down, it gives you the top 5, my apologies, not the top, but it does list 5 benefits. And as you see, when you click on each of those benefits, it expands and gives you additional information. So if I were to click on dental care, it will expand, and I hover over those boxes, and it will give me additional information. As you see here, it provides the co-insurance. If I were to hover over this box, it will then give us the co-payment. So it'll then hover over and expand on the information within that box. As you see moving down, like I said, it provides you like 5 of the benefits, but if you need to see additional benefits, you will come over here to the right-hand side and click on View All Benefit Details. Then it'll populate on the next screen all of their benefits. So as you see when I scroll down, there are quite a bit more that were not listed previously. And once again, when you click on those, they will expand and you'll find additional information, and you can also hover over the boxes. And then also you will see here on different options, it'll let you know if a referral is required or not. Then you also have the ability to download a PDF by making the selection here as well. Now that was us doing the initial patient search through the patient management dropdown. And the next one I just would like to demonstrate is the current patient search through the patient management dropdown option. So when you make the selection for the patient that has previously conducted a search, you will select that patient. It'll automatically take you to the patient information screen. But then here you also have the ability to jump right to that patient's eligibility check, their claims, or authorization. So it's a bit of a shortcut because they've already been in a previous search. When you find the name from the drop-down, it gives you these options for you to make that selection for eligibility, etc. Now I would like to just show you what happens when I do select on the eligibility option. It will then take you to the requesting provider search. If you notice, it bypasses inserting the patient information on this screen and right to the requesting provider information. So then you plug that information in, select search, for it to locate that provider. Once again, you want to look down the list here and make sure you're selecting the appropriate provider. It's the same concept of that initial patient search, that you have to find the appropriate provider at the appropriate location. It just has a little bit different layout. So once I've identified the appropriate provider, I select that provider. It's automatically embedded here, and then I select search. And then it will take you to the patient eligibility screen, and it'll then display all of the patient's benefits and their eligibility status. That concludes patient management, initial and current patient eligibility search. We will be moving on to the next feature. And then moving along is going to be the office management. This gives you the ability to see eligibility, claims, code lookup, document manager, provider manager, authorization, and claims. Similar to the patient management, but you do not have the ability to do a current patient. I would like to focus on code lookup. These represent the services and procedures that they perform. So you can do a code search by the diagnosis, procedure, drugs, modifier. It is a really simple, user-friendly ability to do a search. You just select the appropriate radio button, select the specific item that you're searching, such as my diagnosis, and then you select find. And then it's going to give you a list of the codes. Next, I'm moving on to demonstrate the document manager. In the document manager, this supports the uploading and sharing of many kinds of documents from health partners and users. Some of the documents that it houses are the panel roster, care gap reports, QCP reports, and STARS reports. This feature supports the ability to do an advanced search for the current and archived documents. Also gives you the ability to link documents to claims and authorizations, and then make comments between users. So up here on the far right, it gives you the ability to add documents, and then we're going to focus here on the search. You can plug in specific keywords for the search. You can look for it through a category. You can insert a time range, the owner. You can look by the status, or you can also look up by searching for the member. And then when you've completed filling in those applicable fields, you can select search, and it's going to bring you to your results below. Okay. As you see here below, I did put a search in for the A1C care gaps. It generated the results. The data was uploaded. And then this area right here, we have icons here. These icons, if they are grayed out, that means there has not been any activity. If there has been activity, you will see that it is in purple, showing that activity. You have the ability to edit, download the document, archive, and then you can also permanently delete by checking this box or all the boxes of your documents there, and then pick action, and you could permanently delete it. I would like to show you what the document details look like when you select that document. So I'm going to select A1C care gap, and then the information appears on the next screen. On the right-hand side, you have the ability for more action items, so you can download, delete, etc. from this view. You can share the documents with member, provider, sponsor, etc. and then save those changes so take place. And then you can link this document to the associated member, make changes to your document manager, and then as I mentioned previously, you can add comments. And then you would have the ability to save your changes or cancel if you did not want to make that actual change. Next, I'm going to hand the reins over to Allison so she can demonstrate claims.
Hello, my name is Allison White. I'm a supervisor from our claims department. Today I'll be demonstrating how you can search for a claim. We'll then review the claims details pages. From the claims details page, I will show you how to submit an appeal on your claim. Finally, I will show you how to view previously submitted claims appeals. Here is our portal homepage. Under Quick Access, you will find the Claims Search button. You can also find the same button under the Office Management dropdown and Claims. You would click into either of these if you are looking for claim status, payment or denial details, or if you wanted to view your EOP. This is also the button you want to click to initiate claims appeals. Before we get into that, we're going to find our claim. Here is the claim search page. There are many options to perform a search for your claim. If you have the claim number, you can enter that here. You can search by date of service, process date, patient information, including last name, Health Partners Plan's member ID, or patient account number. You can search by provider information, medical group, or bill type. Or you can search for a combination of these to further drill down on the specific claim. And at the bottom here is your search. I have a claim number prepared for us today, so I'm going to enter it up here. And click search. Now we've entered our first claims details page. This page will show you high-level claims details. Here you can export an Excel or a PDF or print. When you select either of these, your document will be downloaded to Document Manager, where you can then save them to your computer. Here you'll find your claims results. You can view your EOP. This is your overall claim status, patient information, date of service and process date. You can use this gray bar at the bottom to scroll right, and you'll see your provider information, your billed amount, and payment information, including your payment date. Now we're going to click into our second claims detail page. To do this, we're going to scroll back to the left, and we're going to click on the claim number hyperlink. This page will provide more information such as the date the claim was received and diagnosis codes billed. As we scroll down, we'll see claim information by the line level. You can see this claim has 2 lines of service. They're both finalized. You have your check number, your payment date, your provider information, date of service. Again, you can use this gray scroll bar to move further to the right. Here you'll find your procedure codes. If you're reviewing an institutional claim, your revenue code will be listed here with any related or billed procedure codes to the right. You also have your modifiers, units to service, and your billed amount. And this level includes a detailed breakdown of the payment. This would include patient responsibility, COB, or Medicare withhold, if applicable, and your payment amount. As I continue to scroll down, you'll see informational or denial message codes. This claim paid, so there are no denial message codes here. Now that I've reviewed the claim's details, I've determined this claim is paying incorrectly and requires an appeal. To do this, I'm going to scroll back to the top of my page. And here we have 2 buttons. The first one, View Appeal. This will appear only if you have additional appeals submitted for this specific claim. You can use this to view that list prior to submitting a new appeal. I'm going to click on the Appeal Claim button. And this brings us to our appeal form. First, I'm going to check that I'm appealing the correct claim for the correct member. I'm going to click on Show Claim Details. And here you have your member name, date of birth, member ID, the claim number you're appealing, the date of service, and billed amount. Next, I'm going to choose a reason for my appeal from the drop-down. For this claim, I'm going to select Provider Fee Schedule Contract Language. In this free text field, I'm going to enter additional information. You can also attach documentation using the Add Files button here. Right. Now I'm going to click Review Appeal Submission. At this point, the appeal has not been submitted. This is the last chance to go back and edit your reasoning. You would do this by clicking this Make Changes button. It will take you right back to the previous page you were just on. Since I'm confident in my verbiage, I'm going to move forward. Here you will receive this confirmation page where you can copy down your appeal number for future reference. When you're ready, you can press Continue, and it will take you to a list of appeals with the appeal you just submitted on top. This is a list of all of your appeals that you've submitted for all members and all claim numbers. The last thing I want to show you is how to get to this previously submitted claims appeal page from the home page. I'm going to click on our Health Partners Plans logo to take me back to the home page. Again, under Quick Access, you see this Claims Appeals button. You can also find this button under Office Management and Claims Appeals. I want to take a moment to address the difference between the Claims button and Claims Appeals. Claims Appeals is only for viewing and updating previously submitted appeals. If you need to initiate a new appeal, then you must go through this Claims button. We're going to review the previously submitted appeals, so I'm going to click Claim Appeals. And now we are back to the screen that we were just at. I'm going to open up the search options. All issue types should be appeals. For status, you can view all of your denied appeals, all of your approved appeals, or anything that is pending review. You can review your issues by all open issues, all resolved issues. This will be your approved and denied together, or both open and resolved. You can search for your appeals by submission date. You can also search by the last activity. Under issue number, you can select to search by your appeal number or your claim number. I'm going to select appeal number. Search. And here you can see that that one result came up for that specific appeal number. I'm going to click into this appeal. At the top, you can find the claim number, the date the appeal was submitted, and the appeal ID. To the right, you'll find the appeal status. This one is currently in pending review because we just created it. You may also see this appeal change to internal review. That means that it's still being worked by our claims reconsideration team. You could also see it change to approve or denied depending on the determination of your appeal. As you move down, you'll see the reason for your appeal that you submitted. Here's claim summary information. You can also cancel this appeal by selecting this button. This will remove this appeal from our inventory. So if you do hit this button by accident, you will have to submit a new appeal. If you submitted any documentation, that will be attached here. You can click this Add Reply button to enter additional comments. You can also add additional files here if you need to. Lastly, at the bottom, you will find the activity log. This tracks date and timestamps for your status changes. It is also where your replies will be shared and where you can find responses from the Claims Reconsideration Department regarding the determination of your appeal. Thank you for your attention. I'm going to turn it over to Katie for authorizations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Katie DeSando, and I'm going to be demonstrating an outpatient authorization for you today. First, we're going to get started on the main portal page here. And you can get to the authorization screen via two methods. The first way you can get there is going to Office Management and scrolling down to the word Authorizations. Or you can use our quick access menu that we have over on the left side here, and you can click the word Authorizations. Both of those buttons will bring you to this page, which is the authorization landing page. And the first thing I want to bring to your attention is this reminder here. If you are looking to submit an authorization for oncology, radiology, or therapy services, you can click here to go to the eviCore portal. So this will still bring you to the eviCore portal. That is not going away. We are still going to use the eviCore portal for all oncology, radiology, and therapy services. I'm going to review this page from top to bottom. We're going to start here at the top with New Request. This New Request button you can click on, and you have 4 separate submission request forms. The first is the outpatient. That's going to be used for DME or outpatient scheduled or elective procedures. We have the admission submission screen, which will be used for admissions to acute care facilities, hospitals, or post-acute facilities. We also have a home care submission screen to submit for home care services. And lastly, we have a transportation submission screen for transportation requests. I'm going to start and demo an outpatient authorization first. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my outpatient submission screen. And on this page, I'd like to bring to your attention the red asterisks. They indicate a mandatory field, which means data must be populated in there in order for the submission to go through successfully. So this first one here is asking me for my patient. I'm going to click on the magnifying glass and open up my search field. And because this is demo purposes, I am going to put in a number to look for a specific member that has been made up for this demo purpose. And the member will come up. Her name is Secret Catwomen, and her patient ID is here. The effective date, she became effective on 4/15/2022, and her date of birth is here. Just making sure that I have the correct member, name, date of birth, and ID all matched. That's my 3 identifiers. I'm going to add this member to the authorization submission screen. Next is diagnoses. You can search for them clicking on this button. You can also just begin to type the words if you know. So I'm going to type morbid because I'm looking for E66.01. And I can go down and click this. You can just select, if you have it in front of you, the E66.01 as well. Once you click that, it will bring it down here, and that's how you know it was chosen and selected. Scrolling down for requesting provider, I'm going to select this, and I'm just going to click search. You should have this information in front of you with your provider ID that's requesting this service. I'm going to pick this dummy provider here. He's works for internal medicine. I'm going to select that as my provider. You can hover over this and it will give you more information on that. If you wanted to make sure you got the correct one, you want to check, make sure you got the right address. Lots of times your providers are at multiple addresses, so you just need to make sure you're choosing the correct one. And servicing providers, I'm going to click my search button here, and a list of servicing providers will come up. This one here is my dummy provider. That's my internal medicine doc that requested the service. This is a radiology service, so I'm going to scroll down until I see an acute care hospital that can perform the outpatient surgery that I'm going to request. There's a general acute care hospital, so I'm going to select this dummy provider here, a third test hospital. And after clicking add, you can click close, and you'll see that this selected here, and again you can hover over to see additional details. Scrolling down, I am going to request the service, and I'm going to be requesting outpatient surgery today. The location will be in the ambulatory surgical center. The level of service, you have the option to choose between standard and retrospective. I'm going to select standard for this. And the next one is asking me service units, which is mandatory. I'm going to select 1 day. And I'm going to schedule, this is an elective procedure. We're going to schedule this for August 15th. And the procedure that we are going to request is procedure code 43775. This is a gastric band surgery for weight loss, and I'm going to put a quantity of 1. And again, I'm going to use the same date because we are scheduled this. The provider is asking. It's going to go to the surgery on 8/15. Now I have the option to add paperwork to support the findings and the request of this service being requested. So report type will come up, and you choose the one that best matches what you are going to attach. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to attach some notes that are going to support the need for this member to have this surgery. I'm going to choose here for the file to add, and it's going to just pull from your computer, and the attachment must be in PDF format, and there is a reminder for you for that at the bottom of the page here. Attachments must be in PDF format. If you have additional paperwork to add, you can just add more paperwork because you can only add 1 attachment at a time. So if you had notes and now you want to also attach the orders and treatments, you can attach as many documents as you wish. Okay, and the next part, before we move on, so I'm finished populating all of my required fields. My next step would be to submit, but before we do that, I just want to show you that you can save this as a template. The provider, you have the option to save and name a template with any of the request submission form fields populated. This is helpful for those providers who repeatedly enter similar requests. So just so you know, you can say, I'm just going to demonstrate quickly how to do that. Save. And I'm just going to name this as an outpatient 43775. I'm going to click Save as a Template. I'm going to get a message up here in the top right-hand corner that says, this item has been successfully saved to your custom templates list. Please note, and it is a very fast note that goes away very quickly, but it's saying, please note that the paperwork will not be saved and the dates of service will not be saved. So these dates of service here will not be saved. And that makes sense. So when you pull up this template, it's going to be again for this particular member, Secret Cat Women, but you can X this out and easily add a new member name to help expedite your ability to submit requests to HPP. So I'm going to move down. I save my template. Now I'm going to click the Submit button. And this will take a few moments to submit. And then we will come back to our authorization landing page. This does take a few moments more in our beta environment, but when this does populate, I'm expecting for the authorization to show, and we will be able to view all of the information, all the data that we entered into those fields, we'll be able to see. Okay, and this is the result of, after clicking submission, our outpatient request populates. We can see our information is, here's our member information here. We get a confirmation number from the HealthTrio portal, which is 10. You will receive a request number here in this spot approximately 30 minutes after you submit the request to HPP. You will get a authorization number that you are familiar with. For outpatient authorizations, it starts with PO for portal outpatient, and then it's followed by numbers. And then for inpatient, we have PI followed by numbers. So that authorization number that you are used to receiving from HPP will continue, and it will populate in this section of the request number. I'm just going to show you, scroll down here on all the information that we entered. If you need to see more of this information, you just simply click on that button and it will show more. Okay. And you can see that you attached your 2 files down here. So I'm going to scroll back. We're going to go back to the authorization page. And all of your authorizations that you create and submit will be in this pended widget here. I call these widgets. We have an approved, pended, partially approved, and denied. And as you submit them, they will go into this bucket as HPP works them. The next day they will come in and they will land in whether or not they're approved, partially approved, or denied, depending on the response. When I just told you about the PI and PO numbers, once you are in receipt of that number, you can populate that number in here and click search if you need to. You can search for those authorizations. You can also go into advanced search. And this is a way to search for authorizations and really drill down on specifics. You can search by patient, by requesting or servicing provider. You can include date ranges. You can include the requested service and the requested status. So some providers' offices are only interested in certain things. They can uncheck what they are interested in. Say, I'm only interested in my outpatient denials. They can uncheck all of these things. They can say reset their dates for a month. Now it's a month period from 6/29 to 7/29, and they can save this as a search if they would like, so that they come back and they don't have to unclick all of these and do that all over again. So you can search those requests that way. You can save your search requests as well. Again, just to gain some efficiency, and your saved searches would populate down here. Over here is your customized templates, and this was the custom template that I created in the demonstration, and I'm just going to show that. I'm going to click on that. And as you can see, it brings up all of the information that I already populated in here. So these are the dates information that you would need to correct because it's a new member. So you would come up here, you would change out the member, you would change out the dates, and you would add the applicable paperwork for this member. I'm going to go back to the authorization screen and just bring one more thing to your attention. This 4 widgets here are display based on what you choose as your start date. So we have it defaulted to future start date, but you also have the option to choose your last 7 days, last 2 weeks, last month, and last year. So with future start date, the reason we're seeing this is because the auth we just created does have a future start date of August 15th. At this time, I would like to thank you for your attention and have a great day.
All right, so next I will be demonstrating the administration portion. So in HP Connect homepage, on the very far right side of the screen, we have the administration option. This is used typically after registration of the local administrator. They can then add additional users to the health plan. So I'm going to select System Admin. All right, and then here down below we have the Add User. But I just also want to serve as a reminder that the local administrator has access to all standard features, plus the system administration features for setting up and overseeing all other users in the registered office. So they can select Add User. We also wanted to keep in mind that the required and available fields are determined by the health plan. We're going to insert our information. Once again, the information is easily populated due to performing this demonstration before. Going down here, I'm going to select the username. And then we're going to select the Add button at the very bottom. Then we have the user role selection. These roles allow health plans to assign the appropriate security access to users with varying job responsibilities. For example, the provider portal may use the office manager role to allow the office manager to perform system administrative tasks such as adding users. You're going to make the selection from the user role dropdown. And as I mentioned, these may vary depending on your health plan organization. And then make the selection, and then select Role. And I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, and then hit the Submit button. This screen provides you with your user ID. Once again, you want to document this information so that you could use it to access the application in the future. At this point, this concludes adding a user. Next, I'm going over the administration to give local administrator privileges. You will click on the administration and then click on System Admin. And then you see here there is a list of users. And this is where you want to select an individual to give them local administrator privileges. So you will then select on the user's name. And as you see here, it lists the user's information. And this is when, if you're making this individual as a local administrator, you would then click on the checkbox for the local administrator. And then insert the additional information here for the office demographics. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th Street, Pittsburgh. And then use the drop-down menu and find the state, PA. And then you're going to insert the zip code. And that is 15201. And then you will hit the Submit button. Then you receive the confirmation page that that request has been submitted successfully. And at this point here, that does conclude how we add an additional local administrator into the system. Next, I would like to move on to the quick access links that are located at the bottom of the application, and click on Provider Communications. Provider Communication provides the latest health partner plans, news, directories, manuals, guidelines, and forms and announcements. This new information is typically posted 2 to 3 updates per week, and it provides you with the latest news and announcements. So as I scroll down, This is just some beta environment, so it's just kind of giving you some representations of some of the information you may see. By clicking on these links, it'll take you to additional resources, websites, etc. So that concludes today's demo. So we want to thank you again for attending the HP Connect portal demonstration, and we hope that you're excited as we are. Just keep an eye out for any upcoming communications and supporting materials to help you with the ease of the transition. Have a good day.